Panther Nation, the C3 podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com.
I had fun, man. Just out, you guys joking. We working at the same time, putting the work in as a team. Like I said, I'm just glad to be with the guys,
Our favorite night of the week.
We're going to go out there, and we're playing to win. We're not out here just to show up. We're out here to win.
I don't want guys that want to win. Because really, who doesn't? Nobody wants to win. Everybody wants to win. I want players that hate to win.
Well, this embodies everything that we are as a team, as an organization. Our motto is keep pounding. And that's what we do. You know what I'm saying?
What's up, Panther fans? It's your boy, the Professor, a.k.a. Tony Dunn, the C3 podcast. It's the first episode of a new year. I know that most of you, the new year starts on January 1. But for us, the new year starts the week after the Super Bowl, where we start our new quest for the Panthers to put it in the bank. And you can get your Put It in the Bank shirt on CarolinaCatChronicles.com. But I'm here to chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions with my best buds. Mel Mayock is here in the house. Joe Riolano's here in the house. How are you fellas?
Well, hey, man, anytime the Patriots lose, I'm doing a little bit better than usual. So I'm doing pretty good. It's Tuesday night, favorite night of the week, plus the Patriots lose. So doing all right. Glad to be here.
Amen to that. A
Patriots
Patriots loss is the start of a good week, in my opinion. And that's exactly what we were able to see on Sunday. Congratulations to the city of Philadelphia and the Eagles organization. And I'm very happy for you. Lord willing, next season, the Panthers will be celebrating the same way.
There you go. That's the plan.
Just a reminder, if you are in a city like Philadelphia who has never won a Super Bowl and is known for having crazy-ass fans, you might want to up your insurance right before the Super Bowl if you are a store owner, because those mugs have got no sense.
Thank goodness
that the Liberty Bell was already cracked.
Right.
Because those dudes would have broke it. And they would have rang it all night long. But it was nice. It was nice to see the Death Star be destroyed by a team that really we kind of counted out as soon as Carson Wentz went down. The underdog card won, and they pulled it out. And so to you, Tom Brady, we say F you. Go! I saw the best tweet I saw, or what a good tweet I saw is that Brady was mourning, was in his magic pajamas, stuffing his face with zucchini swirls or something like that, zucchini straws, and crying over this loss. It is nice. Guys, tonight's show is a preliminary sketch of the Panthers 2018 season. We're going to be talking about Marty Hurney, who has been put on administrative leave, whatever you call it. He's been basically put on pause because of some allegations from his ex-wife. We'll talk about the Super Bowl tonight and Brady crying himself to sleep, and some other news surrounding potential interview candidates for the GM position and where the Panthers need to be looking to improve as free agency approaches. And as Amanda Helms put it, who's probably there's few people that can claim to be more avid fans and pro team. They should hire her, because she never at any in her point will say one negative thing about the Carolina Panthers or the players. Like, even when I feel like it's deserved, she's got your back. That's a good woman right there. Amanda Helms said this: are we at the point where everybody flips out every time a free agent is signed that we don't get? Yes, right. We are approaching that time where every free agent, every cut is a perfect fit for the Carolina Panthers. And we will be talking about some of those, where we need some puzzle pieces to fit tonight. Again, this is the C3 Carolina Panthers podcast, Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. You can follow us on Twitter at @cat_chronicles. You can subscribe on YouTube. We really appreciate the people in the YouTube chat. Thanks for coming in and tuning in the off season as we start our new season. go ahead and hit that thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. We're at 780 subscribers on YouTube. We got to get to 1,000. Quick like in a hurry to make sure that YouTube still loves us before next season. So share the show with a friend. Put the link to the show on Facebook, on the Gram, on Periscope. Retweet it, whatever you do. The word of mouth is a good thing. And here, you're not going to find many outlets that talk about the Carolina Panthers week in and week out at this time of the year. So we appreciate you guys. We're going to go ahead and start. Let's start quickly with Marty Hurney's story. This broke tonight about 7 o'clock. Marty Hurney is placed on leave by the team after allegations from his ex-wife of harassment. Now, I feel like every ex, there's a harassment involved in ex marriages to some level, right?
Well, yeah, they're an ex for a reason, right?
Right.
I mean, the marriage wasn't going wonderfully, and they just decided to become exes for the fun of it, right? So there was some discord somewhere. So, I get a little. I mean, the Me Too movement is really a great thing in a lot of ways because, it brings out a lot of the bad part of humanity, and there should be a spotlight on it. But there is another side to it as well. Anybody can be perceived as guilty before, anything is proven. I mean, this person's complaint was withdrawn. There was nothing substantiated. The judge did not grant any type of protective order or anything against him. They just set a hearing for the 16th. So, I think we need to, pause before saying, oh, well, he's got to go, et cetera. Because like you said, it's an ex-wife. So who knows the truth? Now, if he did it, good riddance. But
we don't even know what it is, to be honest. I mean,
well, they said
that's kind of a broad thing.
They did say that she said that he and people close to him broke into the house and left her threatening messages.
Dang.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that's true. We'll see if that's true.
Breaking into the vault. The vault is Bank of America. Break on out of there.
There is no proof of who did it. It's not like she's got them on video or anything. You know what I mean? It's just her word. But, with today's society and the way media covers things, many people are already, writing him off as far as, oh, he did it.
And I don't think they should. I think they at least need to wait until this hearing on the 16th. I mean,
yeah.
Well, I mean, I think definitely they shouldn't pronounce judgment, but I mean, really, we're looking at everything that's gone on with the Panthers here recently. It would almost seem like there's not a chance he should be hired, even if he's found to have not been guilty.
Well, you know what really sucks is right now he is the one in charge of the offseason. He's in charge of the talent evaluation, the free agency plans, all of that. This is just another couple of weeks. It's going to set us behind.
It's a distraction. It's
a
distraction for sure. You want to be wary about trying people in the court of opinion, public opinion, and I have tried to avoid this. I try to avoid this best as possible, but at the same time, we are a show that commentates on current events. So not talking about it would be silly as well. I think it is interesting. Someone said, Tizzy questions, broke into the house and left messages. If I broke into my ex-wife house, which would be my wife currently, if that is the case, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to break into that house and leave that girl a to-do list. Like a long to-do list. Because I always joke on my wife is that, have I ever made a list for you? You know what I'm saying? I don't think I've ever made a list of things for my wife to do.
What?
Here, go. You need to do these 7 things today. What if I'm going to start? That's what I'm going to do. Every day after we get divorced or separated, I'm going to call her up and leave a voicemail that gives her 7 things to do. And one is jump off a bridge.
And she's just going to play that little sound bit that you always play. the stupidest thing you ever heard.
That's right. You know what? The good news is my wife doesn't listen to the podcast. She can care less. She does not support her husband in these ventures.
Oh, I've seen her walk in with a bowl of beer, so she supports you just fine.
That's where she supports me. She knows my mental health is important. All right, so you know what? I do think that if there is a silver lining to this, if there was one, if you are not a fan of Marty Hurney, this could be an out for the organization that they not necessarily wanted to take, but maybe this would be the moment where you turn the page and go for some new blood, and this being the thing that propels you to make that decision. I don't know. I don't think it's going to come to that. This is gosh, I cannot think. This is like a Ray Caruth type year.
It's been awful, man. The instability, the churn, the nonstop one thing after another.
Since the season ended.
Crazy. Yeah, this is supposed to be our first week of turning the page, and we're starting out like we finished off last year. But hey,
a lot of people are asking about the owner, and a lot of people. One person, Carolina man, said Elon Musk will take us to the promised land.
he had a rocket blast off today.
Yeah, big deal. Big deal. Like, and if you watch that mess, I don't know. I suggest everybody go watch it. It's only like 5 minutes, and you get to watch them return to Earth. And that's where the cool part is that these rockets returning to Earth, and they save, that's where they've been able to get their cost savings so much. Yeah. And I love this. I just feel like, what Donald Trump should have done is like tagged Kim Jong-un in that. Y'all can't shoot off a rocket. We can shoot them off and land them.
Hey, you don't need to encourage that man.
Hey, he set up a car in the rocket. One of his
his roadster. Yeah, the test, and it's going to be riding in an orbit. So the car is riding in orbit, and they are predicting that the car will be in orbit for a billion years.
Oh my God!
Dang. But not a minute longer.
But not a minute is. They say there is a potential chance it could crash into Mars, but a very slim chance. It's really neat if you think about it, because
it is cool.
We're making some serious strides in that direction, and this guy is pretty interested in one of the things that they did, guys, is they put this, like, I guess it's like a hard drive that it can withstand like ridiculous extreme pressures and temperatures, and they're putting information on it to record human history in the event that there is a
cataclysmic
and some foreign life stumbles across it, and they know about our accomplishments, and they'll be like, look at this cute little electric car.
Right.
They'll be like this: I gave my little alien children one of these as a toy for Christmas one year. All right.
But hey, getting back to Panthers, what do you think about the ownership? What have you heard? All I've heard is there's six groups that are putting in bids. 4 being out of town, out of state groups, 2 being local. That's what I've heard. So my prediction is before the end of February, we're going to have a good idea of where it's going.
Or at least some front runners.
Yeah, I think it's going to be at least down to a couple of bidders at that point. Yeah. We'll know who they are.
I'd be hopeful that we can go ahead and knock this out. I don't know, though, if you've ever bought a house, right?
I buy houses without ever going to look at them.
Yeah, that is. You are like a Elon Musk house buyer.
That's right.
Like, just buy it. Come there. I'm only going to sleep there for 47 minutes a day anyway.
That's right.
they said that, well, I don't know how, when you buy a house, the first house I bought, we were questionable on our income of, like, were they going to count mine, because it was so many part-time jobs that I had, and I was teaching part-time at this time, and we were like, when are we going to get we've been pre-approved, all this stuff, are we going to get this house or whatever we're going to say? And the guy, our real estate agent said, we can't answer that question until the keys are the keys are in your hand. Like, at any moment, any of it can fall apart. So I don't know. That was like a cheap house. I don't know what it's like buying $1 billion or $2 billion organization, but I do think that you probably have a good real estate agent advocating for you if you're a billionaire. Just Mike.
I would like to be the broker on this deal, getting a couple percentage points on that big deal. Jeez.
Oh yeah. That would. You just call it quits. It's just over.
Yeah.
That one broker. I sold Bank of America State. What'd you sell today, Bob? Bank of America Stadium. All right. So let's talk briefly. We'll come back to the GM thing because Lake Dawson. There's a couple of names: Lions, Martin Mayhew, and Luke Dawson. We're going to talk about quickly, but let's talk about the Super Bowl. And a big stunner, the Philadelphia Eagles put down the New England Patriots in a 41-33 win. And I think the surprise is that Nick Foles played – man, he's played out of his mind the last 3 games. I thought it was cool that two guys that were cut by the St. Louis Rams last year, one made an NFC champion and one a championship. Well, both made an NFC championship, and one is a Super Bowl winner. And what's his name is out of a job. And the Rams have had a killer season. What's his name again? Help me out. I'm blanking.
What, the coach?
The old Rams coach.
Oh,
Jeff
Fisher.
So they stunk, and everybody else took those guys and won NFC championships with them and Super Bowls.
It goes to show you, man, it's all about how people come together, the system that they're in, and buying in and being at the right moment. You can't just take one player. It's not like the NBA. You just take a LeBron, put him on a different team, and you got a championship. It's the ultimate team sport. Everything's got to go right.
Well,
I love it.
Tell me then what went right for what went so right for the Philadelphia Eagles?
Man, I got to tell you, I've never in my life seen anything like what you see in the Philadelphia Eagles this year. They lost, I believe I heard, 5 Pro Bowl players off their roster this year, from their starting left tackle to their running back to their quarterback. And I'm not sure who the other 2 were, but to lose that much talent and to keep going, I don't know if it's Doug Peterson or just coming together of everything, but it starts at the top, man. Peterson is legit.
He's awesome, dude. He's awesome.
He's a former Panther.
Tell us about this. I didn't know this until we had dinner last night and you told me this.
He was on the 1995 roster. Now, he never dressed out, but he was a backup. Never made the starting roster.
Cameron Artis Payne of 1995.
There you go. Or kind of like the Garrett Gilbert.
That's the best comparison right there.
There you go.
He won. Man, he was a high school coach 10 years ago.
I know. That's amazing, isn't it?
That is
awesome. He's so good. I think I think he is the true storyline. I was talking. Who was it? Was it you? Somebody was saying this. Oh no, it was somebody at work saying that it was because Chip Kelly that team plays so fast today, and they were talking about how in the Super Bowl how fast they were playing and how they were wearing them down. I don't know if I want to give Chip Kelly credit for much. And I think Doug Peterson is the real deal, man. This guy has won and performed at every level. I think what he did last year with a rookie quarterback was so impressive. Carson Wentz looked like a top 5 quarterback this year. through all this adversity, he kept his team motivated. And I tell you one thing, Alshon Jeffrey, other than being just freaking awesome, I have never seen a player. Well, I won't say I've never seen a player, but he was so dialed in. Did you see the interview he did? And they were asking him. This was the week before, so they were doing the media row stuff, and he was getting asked these questions, and they said, "What do you think about Justin Timberlake? I mean, it's a big star. He's going to be doing the halftime show." He said, "He bleeds like I do. He's just a man. And, yeah, you might think he's a celebrity. He's cool and all. He's got good music and all. But I'm here to play football." Like, this dude didn't want to talk about anything. They said this. They said, "Well, what do you think about the cold in Minnesota?" He goes, "We're playing inside." And they were like, "Well, what would you think if you were playing outside?" And he was like, "We're playing inside." Like, this guy was not joking around. He was pissed to be talking, and he said, "I don't think we should have to come here for this." He said, "I think we would have been better served being in Philadelphia preparing for the Super Bowl." This guy said, "We are bringing that trophy back." And, man, I love that focus, and I think that the team does, the coaching staff had to have played into that, have played a role.
And you know what? Also, kudos to their general manager, whoever that is, because last year the wide receivers in Philadelphia were very average. They remind me of the Carolina Panther receivers this year. They went out and they got Alshon Jeffrey, they got Torrey Smith, and they
traded away Matthews and went and promoted Nelson Aguilar and put him in the slot.
And then in the middle of the year, they go and get a stud running back that makes a huge difference for a 4th-round draft pick.
Yeah, man.
LeGarrette Blount in the offseason as well. I'm trying to see if they made any. The one thing I didn't see is if they made any real defensive acquisitions.
Well, they got your boy Barnett in the first round.
They did get Derek Barnett in the first round of the draft, but free agent. Oh, and I tell you another thing is that Malcolm Jenkins, that dude is awesome.
Yeah, he's a player, man. He is.
But that gives me hope that wide receiver core can be turned around that quickly. So, as we talk about the blueprint for the Panthers in 2018, it's got to start there. What do the Panthers do with wide receiver?
So Philadelphia got aggressive, and if we are going to talk about, a blueprint there, and that's what they always say is that whoever won the year before, that's the blueprint. That's the blueprint. I think one thing that it shows is that some calculated free agency and offseason moves or a calculated trade in a moment of need, if you do it in the right way, not trying to all of a sudden jump up, mortgage your future for something, but if you do it in a solid way, that you don't have to be timid or overly aggressive. You got to kind of hit the sweet spot. You got to hit some doubles in free agency. And Alshon Jeffrey, and they also extended Alshon Jeffrey in the season and went ahead and locked him up, kept him happy there, kept him there. So do the Panthers, when we say it's time that you remind that our wide receiver core reminded you of Phillies from last year, is this the solution that the Panthers make some sort of address the wide receiver position in free agency?
Well, that's one part of the big puzzle. In an ideal world, yes, because I'm doing a lot of mock drafts now, and wide receivers are kind of the popular pick in the first round, which they very well could do that. But much like defensive ends, wide receivers rarely make a huge impact in their first year. They take time to develop. So, like the Eagles did, if the Panthers can find the money to go out and get those wide receivers on the free agency market, that's you're going to get a bigger and quicker impact. But that's probably going to mean you're not going to be able to sign Norwell, and you might not be able to sign Starr. You're going to have to reload there with lower price options or through the draft and then spend your big money on wide receivers, getting whether it's a Jarvis Landry or an Allen Robinson or Josh Gordon or somebody like that.
Well, Josh Gordon is going to be tough. That's going to require a trade.
Yeah.
It's not impossible to think of. Joey, I think I tend to lean this is that the wide receivers that we have, they need a guy who is not old and not a project, but somebody that could immediately, they need to be under 30. That's the first thing I would say. Under 30 years old, somewhat durable, and trained, coached up already. So
here's an interesting name for you. Here's an interesting name that, it may not be a blockbuster name. And I know you threw out Donte Moncrief, and I think that's a good option to kick.
24 years old, by the way.
But another one I like is Cameron Meredith from the Bears, 25 years old.
Okay. Is he a free agent?
Yep.
I don't see his name on the list. All right, so here's some other names right now. Sammy Watkins, Jarvis Landry, Allen Robinson, Marquise Lee, Paul Richardson. Paul Richardson's been a popular name thrown around by a lot of Panther fans. Terrell Pryor, Jordan Matthews, Mike Wallace. I don't want Mike Wallace, man. John Brown. John Brown could work, but I think that he would be a Ted Ginn. Yeah, that's exactly right. And he beat Ted Ginn out for a job in Arizona. Kendall Wright, Eric Decker's too old. Donte Moncrief, 24 years old, man. I feel like that dude's been in the league for a little while, and he's only 24. That's crazy. Bruce Ellington, Bryce Butler, Cody Latimer, who was a popular name when it came to draft time. Michael Floyd, Michael Campanera. You're really not outside of, I don't see, I mean, Brenton Burson is a free agent.
Well, hey, Campanera, man, he was on the show one time.
Yeah, I don't think that's what we need, though. I think we need a bigger body. I think Jordan Matthews could work. I think he could help. I think Paul Richardson could help. I think Allen Robinson would be a game changer. You got to do something in free agency there, I think, because I don't know if a rookie is going to have the experience to make that big of a difference. It is, but we have seen some rookies really play in the league in their rookie season and make a big difference.
It's just hard to count on it. Kelvin Benjamin made a big impact his rookie year. Let's face it, he was really good his rookie year. But that year there were a lot of good rookie wide receivers, but it doesn't happen very often.
I think the Panthers need both. I think they need to bring in a free agent and they need to draft someone.
Yeah, good point.
Slim says Donte Moncrief, Terrell Pryor, Paul Richardson, Albert Wilson. I like Moncrief a ton. Terrell Pryor is going to be cheap this year. That's one thing. He will.
Tyrell Williams is a restricted free agent. I mean, you could put an offer out on him because the Chargers drafted, one real high last year, and they've got some other players. So he could be gone.
And you got to also think there could be some guys that are cap casualties that are released that their name is not on this list yet.
True.
So be watching there. When it comes to continuing with the offense, it seems that clearly wide receiver has been at the top of our list of something that needs redress. But also, going back, you mentioned Norwell, that it's going to be difficult to lock him, Star, and either one of those guys and get a legit name in free agency. Now, there is the option that we have talked about before on the show several times about potentially cutting Matt Kalil, promoting Tyler Larson or somebody in that and getting some money that way.
Now you talking about Ryan Kalil?
Yes. Did I say Matt Kalil?
Oh, you did, just for clarification.
I meant, yeah, exactly. Ryan Kalil. But one thing to look at what Philadelphia did is their offensive line was legit. Their starting left tackle went down, and
pro left tackle.
I thought they were collapsing after that. and they just kept on. They were the Energizer Bunny, man.
They still had the best line in the league, it seemed like.
And really, if you look at the entire season, they were the best team in the league all year long. They had some hiccups, but when you look at the
yeah, but they came and played us at home. You know, I mean, they came into our house and we were in there and we had a chance, but they came to play.
Well, Jonathan Stewart changed that game single-handedly.
Oh yeah, the turnovers. Yep, you're right.
I mean, yeah, but those things happened, you know.
Yeah.
And so Colton says Martavis Bryant be a good pickup. Yeah. And Carolina Man says, funny you mentioned Pryor. I was watching Richard Pryor coming in here. Guys, if you haven't seen live on Sunset Strip, the one where Richard Pryor is in the red shirt, where he's got sweat stains underneath his whole body is a sweat stain, and the man is still on drugs, where he was funny. Because after he burned himself and he caught himself on fire, freebasing coke or smoking crack or whatever he was doing, his jokes became about himself, and they were kind of self-deprecating. And he's the funniest man to ever live. Second, Chappelle is right behind him, but it is so good. Live at Sunset Strip, the best stand-up of all time. So how do you guys then think that we progress with the offensive line? Is this one of those things that you're just going to have to piecemeal what we have with maybe hoping that Moton contributes? Or do you find a way to maybe get somebody cheaper than Norwell, say, in free agency? And there's a ton of names out there. I don't know if they're any good. Jack Mehort is a free agent. I think he'd be expensive. It sounds like just Luke Jokel. He stinks though. I feel like he does.
Well, I think if you play guard, maybe he has a little value there.
Well, there's also some very good names in the draft. Now, it's pretty deep draft when it comes to center. There are players out there like Frank Ragnell out of Arkansas and Billy Price. These guys are folks that can play center at an incredibly high level, that they could come in the first year, play left guard if Norwell walks, while Ryan Kalil has one more year, if that's the way they go. And then as Ryan Kalil fades out, that person moves over to center. That's a definite way to go. But, I tend to think we got to find money somewhere. And I think Ryan Kalil, you cut him, you cut Charles Johnson, you cut Jonathan Stewart, you can afford a big receiver and probably still keep either Starr or Norwell, but not both.
Right.
Man, it's going to be tough. You cut Ryan Kalil with his brother.
What's
still
the
there.
easier position to fill? Offensive guard or defensive under tackle?
Guard or defensive tackle? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, like, which would we have better success in finding a replacement? I mean,
clearly, I think defensive tackle is, because you already have Vernon Butler there. And at some time, you got to shit or get off the pot, man.
Well, I mean, you're right about that. He is there.
And you've got Kyle Love that, you got some rotational players. I just feel like there's just uncertainty on the offensive line. There's at least some talent on the defensive line that you can make up for it. A lot of people are saying that Ryan Kalil and Matt Kalil, they need to take pay cuts to help this team out. That is something that, look, Ryan Kalil said that this is going to be his last season in the NFL. If he can do something where we extend him and pay some of that money from this year in the following year, to at least so he doesn't lose any money, he just spreads it out over 2 years, that could be a significant help and be one where he doesn't force your hand in that case. I don't think we cut ties with him, though. I think it would cause problems with Matt Kalil. We've talked about how Matt Kalil tends to play better when he's playing with his brother, and we're stuck with Matt Kalil for another year at the very least. So unless we're going to draft somebody and just bench him and just pay him all that money and bench him.
Well, you bring them in. If you let Norwell go, you put that person at left guard for a year, and then when Ryan Kalil moves on, that person can move over to center. And you've got somebody else that you've been grooming. Right?
All right. When a Carolina man asked this, is there a chance that we draft that Ridley would be a good pick? I think I'm guessing he means the Alabama wide receiver.
Well, yeah, but he's probably a top 10.
Maybe long gone.
Is he that good?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. I guess if you had the Hurts guy throwing to you and you're still good.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's a pretty deep wide receiver draft, I think. There's people out there that disagree, but there's a handful of guys that I think can make a difference in the first round. Ridley being one of them. You also got Marcel Aitman. You've got Cortland Sutton. These are some big time players in my eyes.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see what happens at 24.
All right, let's go. Let's talk about. We'll do defense next week. So since we focused on the need, the primary need on offense is wide receiver. There are needs at offensive line, but you can go ahead and say this: that there is a revolving need or a continuous need, shall I say, at offensive line in every draft.
No doubt.
I think not
every
be
year
opposed to picking an offensive lineman in the third round every single year.
And I think you need to do it in the first every 3 years. Once every 3 years, you got to keep some elite talent in there. Look at the difference that a Jordan Gross made on this team when he was here, and you took a high pick, and then Travell Wharton, who's now a coach, was a second rounder. So
and
sometimes
Kalil as well was a second rounder.
Yeah, that's right. So I would like to see a first or second rounder go this year. But on offense, the one position that would probably make the largest difference and impact on this team, we haven't even talked about, is running back.
Yeah, I was going to go to that next.
I look at running back as a need.
Is this something that you address, though, in free agency? Or is this something that you go after in the draft?
Let's look at free agent running backs. Does anybody have a list of that?
I do. My favorite is the 26-year-old Le'Veon Bell.
Sorry.
Well,
My bad. I guess a boy can dream. A boy can dream. Dion Lewis. Right now, this is the list for. There's a lot of them. Le'Veon Bell, Dion Lewis, Carlos Hyde, Jerick McKinnon, Isaiah Crowell, who is 25 years old, by the way. That wouldn't be terrible. After coming off a terrible year on a terrible team. Alfred Morris is 29. I think that's getting too old. Jeremy Hill is 25. He would be a good fit in Carolina.
Would not be bad at all. I like that. I also like when you mentioned earlier McKinnon.
Yeah, Jerick McKinnon. How big is he? How big is he? Is he a bruiser? We're going to need somebody that could replace.
He's not a bruiser.
Yeah, we need a guy that could that we could replace Stewart with.
Pound.
Jeremy Hill would be a great pickup.
That really would. That's the guy to go after right there. I like that. He won't be
him
cheap.
Or Crowell. Crowell's a bruiser.
Yeah, Crowell would be nice. You're right. Frank Gore's way too old. Darren Sproles old. Alfred Morris, I think. I like Alfred Morris, but I would have liked him 2 years ago.
Right. Do you think Hyde gets away from San Francisco?
That's
Yes.
a good question.
But
the problem with Hyde, I like Hyde. He's just too injury prone.
Yeah, and he's got a lot of miles on the on him. I saw here's a good name for you. Jordan Todman and Kenyon Barner.
Hey.
Former Carolina Panthers standouts on the practice squad.
Talking about putting the band back together.
I also saw that Sharkandrick West could be a cap casualty in from
Kansas City.
Kansas
Oh,
City.
that's interesting. That's interesting.
I think
Now,
that
Mike Davis
Jeremy
is a
Hill is a really interesting name.
Mm-hmm. Mike Davis is a name. Now he's a restricted free agent, but University of South Carolina running back. He could be interesting. But I agree, Jeremy Hill. That is a name way up on the list.
Keith Warlick says Jeremy Hill convicted of sexual misconduct with a minor. No chance. I would have said that last year until our now I don't know how long ago that is, and I will say this as well, that we need to get some details before we go crazy, because you could be 17 and have a girlfriend that's 15 and be, you know what I'm saying? Who knows? I don't know what the detail. So I'm not going to make any comment about, like, because I do think sexual crimes come with a certain stigma immediately, that you're more worried about a person that's been convicted of some sort of sex crime than you are of like somebody convicted of attempted murder. And then you look at the details and it's like their girlfriend was 17 and they were 20.
Jeremy Hill's measurements would be 6'1", 230.
Yep.
So
he's perfect for that. He's perfect for what we need.
From a football perspective, he would be way up on the conversation. But he's right. You got to vet him out and make sure that he's going to fit character-wise.
I think, and here's the thing, is that like it can't be any worse than Joe Mixon.
I have some details on that if you're interested in hearing.
Yeah, go for it.
According to Wikipedia, January 2012, Hill pleaded guilty to carnal knowledge of a juvenile stemming from a January 2011 arrest in charge of oral sexual battery. In April of 2013, he was arrested and charged with assault after being involved in a bar fight and was filmed assaulting 20-year-old. And then September 2013, he pled guilty to simple battery. So he has some history.
Yeah. But, I mean, assault in a bar fight, I'm not going to flip out over that personally.
Yeah.
I mean, 3 or 4 years ago, too. I mean,
what's his age, Joe? You got that?
25.
25.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. All right. So I think that would be a potential. There could be somewhere you maybe answer that there. And the last thing that we should probably talk about, Keith Warlick said, quote, oral sexual battery of a juvenile.
That just sounds awful.
That does sound awful.
Girl, you gonna love this. So there's one other position of particular need, or that of note, and that is tight end. Right now, I read somebody, and I thought that this was a little sensational, and they were like, there is no other player on the Panthers roster currently that caught a catch in 2018 or 2017 at tight end other than Greg Olsen. And I was thinking, like, well, what about Ed Dixon? What about Ed Dixon? But obviously he's a free agent, or I guess that's what's happening here, is that he must be a free agent, or they were just wrong and I didn't fact check it because I don't see his name on the list.
He is a free agent. He is, so maybe that was why.
They better add his name to the Roto World list. Somebody send Roto World a message, because oh no, there it is. All right, so here's some names: Jimmy Graham. Tyler Eifert. Jimmy Graham's 31 though. I ain't trying to get involved with that. Austin, Rastafarian, man, with the comeback player, 25 years old. Trey Burton, Virgil Green, Niles Paul, Luke Wilson.
Tyler Eifert.
Yeah, that's a legit name right there, man.
Is that the Bengal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was he this year after such a gruesome injury in the Pro Bowl 2 years ago? I don't have a stat.
I'm gonna see if I can find.
I got it. So What do you think is that at tight end, I mean, I don't think you should need to go sign a big name, right? Maybe you do. Maybe you try to bring back a 2 tight end set. He came into the league, first of all, he is 6'6", 250 pounds. He is 27 years old. And in 2017,
he got hurt?
2017, he started, this can't be right. He didn't start any games. He had 4 receptions, 46 yards. Did he not come back from that injury is the question.
Oh, wow. Really?
Gosh, that's a 2-year injury right there. So he's off the books. He's cheap. Or if he is, he's going to be so cheap.
Oh, right. We couldn't afford not to take him.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Richard Rodgers is a free agent. He's got the
from Green Bay.
Coaching time. Mm-hmm. Got the coaching time.
Okay. I think right out of all the names I've heard so far, that is intriguing to me, more so than even wide receiver. Now, there are, I mean, obviously getting like a Sammy Watkins. And is Sammy Watkins really 24 years old?
No
How
way.
is that even possible?
That cannot be true. Did he come out when he was 19? I mean, seems like he was in Buffalo forever.
I mean, he came in 2014. He is 24 years old.
Jeez.
June 14th.
All right, here's some info on Eifert. He's been in the league since 2013. He had a second back surgery in 2017 that cut his season short. So that's 2 years in a row with back surgery.
Yeah, I'd stay away from that.
Best season, 2015, he played in 13 games, started 12, 52 receptions, 615 yards. The big number here is 13 touchdowns.
Yeah, he was
Big
nice.
Freaking number.
He was nice.
But
Cody Lashney says it's true. I swear, 24 years old for Sammy Watkins.
Jeez.
That's
Well,
crazy.
Hey, you gotta kick the tires on that.
Yeah. Man.
I don't know. When I see him on film, man, when I see him in pro games, I'm just not impressed.
I
Did you
feel
see
the
him
same way, Joe. Like, you think that he should be
underwhelming. I'm just underwhelmed by him.
He looked a lot better with a good quarterback out there in LA, though.
I mean,
He only had 593 yards this year.
That's almost 3 times as many as our number 2 wide receiver this year.
Right.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I'm not opposed to it. I'm just saying he's
No, I
never
hear you.
done anything that wowed me.
Yeah, you don't pay him number 1 top end dollar.
I think, Joe, I thought that all right, so Cody Lashney said, I might call in next Tuesday and try to sell you guys on Sammy Watkins. I'd love for you to do that. I think that I just don't see as much separation as I expect with a guy that's supposed to be so fast. Yeah.
Panthers have to get somebody that can get some separation.
Slim
That's our
J
biggest
says
weakness.
North Turner would know how to get the most out of him for sure. I think that's a legitimate point.
I don't see the aggressive ball, the aggressive
attacking
like
the ball.
attacking the ball kind of style from him. I just don't see that.
Yeah.
This is coming from a wide receiver.
I think that is a legitimate potential name. I think Paul Richardson is a potential name, and I think Mike Wallace is a realistic name. Donte Moncrief is a possibility, but
I like Moncrief. I have to admit, big guy, good size, and man, imagine what
speed
can do with him.
Yeah,
a good quarterback. A really good quarterback. Cam would have a field day with that guy.
I think he would be cheap, too, or cheaper than any of these other names.
Yes, cheaper.
But out of all the names that I've been most excited about is actually at running back with potentially Jeremy Hill or Isaiah Crowell.
That would make a big impact.
I don't think they would come cheap, though. I don't think they would break the bank, but I don't think they would come cheap.
I gotta think that Crowell would take just average money just to get out of Cleveland.
And he had such a terrible year this year there. I mean, it was
Right,
awful.
so couldn't ask for too much.
Right.
Okay. That is all right. So last two news, and then we got to get the cat calls. Is Ron Turner, Norv Turner's brother, who has been a special advisor to the Carolina Panthers, offensive consultant, who wasn't very consulting, obviously, is out. He will not be rejoining the team. I think he's going on to broader pastures or greener pastures, and I guess
Arizona.
So he did get a job in Arizona.
Yeah, he went with Wilkes.
Xavier Smith said Sammy Watkins would be the best wide receiver Cam Newton has played with in 4 years. In the last 4 years.
Better than Steve Smith?
No, I think that's the 4-year part.
Was that the 4-year part?
Yeah, I think so.
That's probably true then. He's no Steve Smith, but he's probably better than Kelvin Benjamin.
Yeah, I agree. But, one thing, I guess Kelvin Benjamin missed a whole year. Kelvin Benjamin wasn't bad, but different player. The other thing is Olsen was asked about the end of his career. And this was like by Barstool Sports. And Olsen said that he was not naive to know that he is getting older and that he got a taste of it this year where he missed the first significant time of his career with this foot injury. But then he went on to say this. I like this. He said, there will come a point in my career where one of the 32 teams does not want me. And then it will be time. This guy is ready to play until he is the next Gary Barnidge, where nobody wants you.
Well, hopefully that's not for another few years.
Yeah, and we need 2 years. I think we got 2 years of Olsen left, of good Olsen. That's what I say is we get one more potential year of really good Olsen, 1 year of good Olsen, and then I think you'll see a slowdown because he's never been fleet of foot, and he ain't gonna get any faster as things.
But you know what? That's the way Antonio Gates was, right? He was never fleet of foot, but the dude's 38 years old and he was still balling this past year.
True that.
It's more about technique. Yeah, at that
position. I do think that Antonio Gates. Would you say this is that that Antonio Gates is a better tight end than Greg Olsen?
Yeah, I mean he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I didn't want to upset Panther Nation by throwing that out there. The other thing, I guess, in real news is that Olsen did not get the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. Sadly, with all the hard work that the girl gang did retweeting and tweeting that all dang day, every day.
Filling up my timeline.
Yeah, he lost to J.J. Watt. J.J. Watt had the advantage of a natural disaster to help him, though.
Oh, he did. And what he did was phenomenal. I mean,
let's
face it. Let's face it. I mean, tip of the cap to J.J. Watt. I'm not going to say he shouldn't have won. I mean, Greg Olsen, hey, man's awesome himself. But what J.J. Watt did, I mean, that was unbelievable. He deserved to win.
Time to get a little G-Reg back in your life and go get him this year on the football field.
Yeah.
All right, and the last bit of news is that the Panthers, who I felt like were interviewing GM candidates mainly out of courtesy and the Rooney Rule and all of this, now maybe these interviews become more realistic or more important. Martin Mayhew from the Lions, he's something of player development or personnel. All the Lions fans said, we will pray for you if this guy gets the job. And if a Lions fan says that, I don't want anything to do with him.
One potential correction there, though. I believe he's actually with the 49ers right now. He's the former Lions GM. He's now with the 49ers.
Okay, right. Thank you. And the more interesting name to me is Lake Dawson. Lake Dawson. Excuse me, Lake Dawson, because he has some ties to the Carolina Panthers. He has ties with Billy Bean. He's remarkably well-spoken.
He interviewed for the position when Gettleman got it.
Yeah, and he's so well-spoken. Yeah. He's a good-looking fellow. Good God. He is like, he could be a dang movie star, I feel like. And if he stunk, we would have the ability to say, somebody take this dude and throw his ass in Lake Norman. That would be the benefit of that. And I do want to put out this too as well, that there's a great video about how the Cowboys fans rooted for the Patriots and how they were rooting for the Patriots in the Super Bowl. And the guy was talking about, he had the great line. He said this: if that's a catch, if they count that a catch, that was a catch for Des Bryant. And then it was like, we need some creativity in our play calling like that. We don't need to be running a quarterback draw. And I just felt like you could have put any team, just substituted any fan base for this, and it would have worked.
Yeah, the difference was what the Eagles did worked. You know, if it didn't work, then he wouldn't be looking so smart.
Right. Right. That's true.
It's execution.
All right, let's jump into these cat calls. We got some things to. Oh no! What the thing that we didn't talk about at all that was meant to be the highlight of our night is Tom Brady stormed out of the Super Bowl without congratulating anybody, shaking anybody's hand, like a petulant crybaby child.
Where's the outrage?
Where's the outrage? I'll tell you where it is. It's right here on the C3 Carolina Panthers podcast, and all Panther fans who have been talking about it incessantly on Twitter about, well, you guys were on Cam Newton because he had his helmet on and all of these things. Brady cried himself to sleep, and I just want to say this to Brady.
Ice up.
Hey, Cal Turd, you are just... I don't even have a name for you anymore, except Cow Turd.
That's what I got to say to you, Tom Brady. I'm glad you were sad. And then I saw a thing today is that it's impossible for anybody to catch him with Super Bowls that's in the NFL right now. Cam Newton would have to win 6 Super Bowls. And I hope it happens. Please.
Yes, sir. Please.
All right, let's jump into these cat calls.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty you shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like...
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in the snow? Who's that kid that can use one?
What's up, everybody? This is your boy, Mr. T Money 1993, man. I definitely enjoyed, being with you, Tony, and my boy Willie on the podcast, man. My bad on not being able to finish that. I had to get this work, but yeah, man, it was definitely a good podcast, man. For all my Panther fans, go check out the guy that Panthers drafted was talking about that we might take, maybe the big wide receiver for Oklahoma State. Aitman, I think is his name. Big dude, look like the new Mike Evans. Hopefully, yeah.
It's that time again. Totally done. No, man. That freaking Puerto Rican Joe Reolano. And to whatever guest might be on tonight's podcast, what's up, boys? My name is Cody Lashley, the YouTube chat champion, back with another episode of Better Know a Panthers potential draft pick. Tonight, we are going to be previewing Dallas Goedert, a walk-on unicyclist. Yeah, I'll say that again because you might have misunderstood me. A unicyclist out of South Dakota State. Now, so he is a tight end. He is 6'5", 260 pounds, and oh my God, he's So it's kind of my hope that after I do these calls that everyone listening to the show will go and look up these guys on YouTube and dig in more to them. Man, when you watch his highlights, he has it all. He can run routes. He's fast as hell. He has good hands. He's even made some spectacular one-handed catches. And they're already saying that this guy might potentially be the best tight end in all the draft. If you look up some of his stats, he was top 15 in the FCS with 92 receptions for 1,293 yards and 11 touchdowns. He has everything you want. He has the size. He has the speed. He has the agility. And, man, the more I think about it, putting him on the other side of the line, running 2 tight end sets with Greg Olsen and that run pass option, that would be deadly on our offense. And we know that North Turner loves a big pass catching tight end. We already have a Hall of Fame one, who, by the way, is our Walter Payton Man of the Year. Let's add another one, and let's get this thing rolling. Love you, boys. Until next Tuesday night, keep pounding.
That's our boy Cody Lasty bringing it again, the YouTube champion, bringing it. And I got to say this, the one thing that I was hoping to get for, and Mel and them could not see this, but I put up highlights as that call was going on. Mel couldn't know, they wouldn't know this because they can only see my beautiful face. But
what was his name? Dallas
Goedert.
Goedert, okay.
And what I really was trying to find, and Cody, I believe you're the man that can do this. We need film on him on the unicycle. That's what I was looking for, and I didn't get any farther than YouTube. But that's what we need.
Let's get him on the show, Cody. Dial him up, man.
Yeah, we need Dallas Goedert on a unicycle on the Secret Podcast. I like it. And so interesting, and, you know, could be a realistic name, and one that a lot of people, you just Google his name and you'll see this, the next Gronkowski, ? Right? Not like definitive, but all right, here we go. We got one more call.
Hello. Hello, C3 Podcast. This is one of your loyalists, Mr. Carlton Davis. How you guys doing today, Tony, Joe, Mel?
Thanks for calling.
And, of course, a special guest, if we have a special guest tonight. Anyway, I am so dang blessed and happy. Them damn Patriots go down. You know what, guys? Today I'm starting to hear excuses about Malcolm Butler not being in the game was one of the reasons they lost and messed up the defense. I think that's, me personally, I think that's BS. The defense was sorry anyway this year. Yep. They stats went up because how they was in the red zone. So that's bull. I think they still would have lost. And Belichick, if he did, I believe Butler did something, Belichick would have had him in there. Come on now. We know that. You know, I know. Can't blame Belichick on that. But anyway, who you guys think is going to be our new owner? And I have one for you. I have some names here I want us podcasters to think about. And YouTube Cody, my man Cody, and Slim J as part of my list. How about the Panthers, a running back by the name of Rashad Penny from San Diego State, led the nation in rushing. Oh, yeah. Good, and I think he'll be good if he drops Panthers there. Wide receiver-wise, I like that Traquan Smith from Central Florida. Offensive line, Will Hernandez, offensive guard.
That's Cody Lashney's boy right there.
How about Marcus Davenport, defensive lineman? He would be great if he fell to the Panthers. That would be our defensive rushers, pass rusher we need. So you guys tell me what you think and comment in the below. and I'll be here watching.
And thank you, Carlton. You're the man. I love these calls giving us some actual, like, we've gotten 2 calls tonight, 3 calls, because one was T-Money from last week after he had to leave for work for the show. But thanks for the information and the ability to give us some fresh names that we can talk about instead of just rehashing what the 5 guys that I know or whatever. Mel, tell us any names that stick out to you on that list. Maurice Phillips says Penny, he's a beast. And I know that Cody Lashney has been talking about the Hernandez guy at guard. What do you think? Were there any names on that list that stuck out to you?
Yeah, I mean, that Hernandez is definitely somebody that's got to be way up on the list. And that wide receiver out of Central Florida that he was talking about, he's got some good skills. So, yeah. I haven't looked into that defensive lineman that he brought up, but I'm going to go check him out here after the show. So, yeah, definitely thanks for those names. And, hey, we got the draft show that we're going to have live like we've done for the last 3 or 4 years. We need to get Carlton on the show. Come on.
Yeah, we're going to get all you guys on the show. I saw that there are some other people now putting out a draft show, and I would say this, good luck, because you cannot outdrink me on draft night.
Oh, and this year we're drafting later again, so, man, It's going to be fun.
You're going to get drunk Tony. You are going to get drunk Tony. Last time you had drunk Tony was
Kelvin Benjamin.
Yeah, Kelvin Benjamin was real drunk Tony.
I think Shaq Thomas was a heavy buzz.
Yeah, Shaq Thompson was pretty heavy as well. Anytime we have to go to the 20s, last year was the only year you did not have super drunk Tony because we picked 8.
Right.
But we're back in the 20s now, so that means I'm a good 12 beers deep by that point. And I'll be having fun. So that will be on draft night. And last year we had so much fun that we even got together on night 2 to discuss some things. But this will be the 4th year, I believe, or 4th or 5th year that we're doing this. The first year we did it was the Kelvin Benjamin year.
Yeah.
So then it was, what was it? Kelvin Benjamin, then Shaq Thompson, then Vernon Butler, then
Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah. So this is year 5.
Yeah.
And this is 4 hours of we bring in guests from all the other teams or as many teams as we can get, other analysts to talk about their picks. And it's really neat to see and we get so many people together and have that live reaction on draft day. I think when is draft day? That's a good question. It's generally a Friday night, right?
I think it's April.
Or is it
23rd.
Thursday night?
April 26th, I believe. It starts on Thursday. Right.
So April 26th. Ooh, an early one this year because I feel like they've been going into May at sometimes. So you guys got to come to the C3 live draft podcast. It's a blast. We have a good time, and you get instant reactions. And I guess sometimes drunk Tony knows what he's talking about. When we went with Kelvin Benjamin, I wanted Bradley Roby and Allen Robinson that year. And you tell me if you wouldn't mind having either one of those players on your team right now. And Mel Mayock, if we should just make Mel the damn GM. If Mel would have drafted for us, we'd been in the Super Bowl.
There you go.
So I like that. All right, guys. That is first of all, that's the Cat Calls line. The number is 252-228-5098. We need you to keep calling all throughout the offseason. Let the other teams have it. Have some fun on the Cat Calls line. We need your help and support. We will keep going in what a lot of people view as the starving time, but this is when the C3 podcast really shines because we don't lose steam and momentum in the offseason. But now we got to turn our attention to the longest running segment on the C3 podcast, and that is the Ice Up segment, where we tell someone to ice up, to toughen up, to get it together. Everyone is fair game, from 12-year-old kids in Oklahoma to old ladies, to whoever you want. You got it. Who wants to start tonight? How about I go? I never go first. I never go first. And mine is going to be kind of lame this week because I did not super prepare. But I'm gonna ice up President Trump for calling the Democrats treasonous, their actions treasonous at the State of the Union address, and then tried to say that it was joking, that he was just kidding because they didn't stand and clap for the accomplishments of America. I will say this is that you weren't kidding. You were just placating to your base and trying to get some people riled up. And we've all watched those stupid well, I like watching those types of things, but we've all watched the other side, no matter who they are, sit there and look like they got a spoonful of shit all night long while the other team claps. That's the way it is. Every time Obama was going crazy, what's his name? Who was it? Who was the Speaker of the House back then? The guy that cried all the time.
Oh, the barkeep, the guy that swept up the bar.
Yeah, he was pretty cool. He's actually a pretty cool dude, but he also is like orange because he like overtans.
Was it Boehner?
Yeah, Boehner. And whenever he cries, you were actually concerned that he may be having a stroke. Like that's what I felt like. I was like, is this dude crying or is he having a stroke?
Or is he stroking out?
Yeah. So that guy, even they have to try to do that. So for Trump, for you to suggest that either you're showing that you're naive completely to the way American politics work, or you're just trying to stir the pot, which that's what I probably think you're doing. I don't believe it's a joke. So I'm going to say this. Ice up America. Ice up America. Ice up Donald Trump, President Trump. Get it together, man. And you got 3 more years of work to go at the very minimum. We need you on your game, and that game doesn't need to be this weird pettiness. But that's just, it's lame. I told you it was a lame pick. You guys go. Ice up.
All right.
I'm going to ask. Mine's probably lame as well. I have a show of ineptitude within some of our city municipalities or local municipalities. Great example of this is in Baltimore, Maryland, where the Baltimore City Jail failed doing their due diligence and was allowing its prison guards, the jail guards, to walk into the prisoner areas without checking their shoes. So there were a total of 25 people involved in smuggling everything from marijuana to jewelry to pills, all sorts of contraband into prison. They were bringing it in their shoes.
Okay, well, that sounds like a normal thing that happens in prison.
The ringleader of this was able to make as much as $16,000 in 1 month from prisoners.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
He's an entrepreneur.
It was a game called the Black Gorilla Family. It consisted of gang members inside the prison as well as outside. There were 13 female correction officers involved, 7 inmates, and 5 co-conspirators. They were charged with everything from racketeering, money laundering, and possession with intent to distribute. The big part of this is, the reason I'm even mentioning this is 3 of those 7 inmates, were impregnated by the same police guard, the same jail guard. He impregnated 3 of them and was able to give one an engagement ring and showered all 3 of them with all sorts of
idiot wants to get married to a prisoner.
Was getting their family members outside the jail. He was buying them cars, dude. He made so much money off of this.
Actually, maybe you're a genius if you impregnate women in jail.
Right.
And your wife is in jail and you're not.
And they didn't care. So anyway, I'm even bringing this up. It's like I said, this is just a magnetic. The magnitude of failure in the system here is just ridiculous. So I'm icing up the city of Baltimore for if they were just
Avon Barksdale, man. Avon Barksdale in prison. Do you know who Avon Barksdale is?
No.
The Wire. He's the first. He's the the first one, the real cool one that liked to play back. Yeah, the one, the guy that they got that, and then there was Marlowe, who was the next dude after that.
You're right though. It is that kind of stuff, man. I mean, it's just like The Wire in real life. And where did that take place at?
Baltimore.
Thank you very much. And it's just a systemic breakdown of our local government there and failure for people to follow through and do their freaking jobs. You know what I'm saying? Make sure things are being done right. It's the lack of responsibility on the part of our elected officials. So I say, ice up to the city of Baltimore.
Yeah, one thing I did see this, Joey, is that some new FAA rules on drones that they put on because you can't fly a drone in the vicinity of a prison. And people have been flying drones over prison.
And dropping stuff in.
Dropping drugs and stuff in there with the drone.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. I always thought this is that there is a prison that I used to drive past all the time it's in Maury, North Carolina. And it's a maximum security. They have half maximum security, half not. And dudes are always out there walking the track. Like, I always felt like it would just be a cool thing to do, like to throw a pack of cigarettes over the fence for them. Be like, keep the straight, keep the faith, guys.
Then you watch them beat the crap out of each other over that pack of cigarettes.
Oh yeah, man! I would say share them.
Yeah, it's one each, man.
All right, okay, Mel, who you got?
All right, well, hey, shame on the C3 podcast if we actually went a show after the Patriots lose in the Super Bowl and not ice up somebody from the Patriots, right? So somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to do it. And I mean, our boy, boy from across the pond, who needs to come back on our
Jay Cryer. He'll be here for the draft night. He always shows up for draft night.
He needs to be here for draft night. But he asked me to ice up the GOAT, Tom Brady, which I'll give him a honorary ice up tonight in honor of Jay Cryer. But mine is going to go to the offensive coordinator, Josh McDaniels, because, I mean, here's a guy who is getting a head coaching job, has come to terms with the Indianapolis Colts. And what really blows my mind, I mean, hey, you're entitled to change your mind, right? I mean, you could go in, be all excited about an opportunity and say, you know what, I'm better off here. And, Joe, I think you brought up maybe there's the thought that Belichick's gone in a couple of years and McDaniels is going to bide his time and wait it out and take that over. But what really gets my goat, pun intended, is he has gone out and hired assistant coaches. He hired his defensive coordinator away from the linebackers coach for the Cowboys. And he's under contract now with the Colts.
How do you even do that?
I know. Those guys signed contracts with the Colts before he's put the pen to paper. So these guys are under contract. So what are the Colts going to do?
He just did his boys a favor, man. That's all he did. He hooked them up with a free job. They ain't going to have a job now. They're going to get paid now.
And there are other coaches that he had talked to and was offering them jobs that had not signed contracts left the teams that they were with. So now they're out of jobs.
He's kind of a sleaze bag, it seems like. He's had, he didn't have a good go in Denver.
No.
There are coaches that have bad goes and then the next go around. I mean, look at Belichick. He didn't have a great go the first go around in Cleveland.
Yeah, but it seems like a personality thing. He kind of reminds me of a Lane Kiffin a little bit.
Very good point. Yeah, he's very full of himself, no doubt. But man,
imagine how pissed Jimmy Irsay is. I'm mad.
He's like
I'm not the
popping
biggest-
pills
Look
like
like a bunch of
crazy.
idiots.
He ate like 40 Oxycontin because of that.
Instead of his normal 30.
Yeah, exactly.
So, to the New England Patriots, to Josh McDaniels, to everybody involved with the Patriots, ice up.
Quick point about that is that I was on the radio and we mentioned this too, is that we were talking about the McDaniels potential job, and I was thinking that Tennessee would be a better place to go. Sound team, made the playoffs, got a lot of pieces there, also have a young quarterback. And then you had Andrew Luck, who is coming off a major injury. And the last I heard about Andrew Luck is my man. Hate that dude more than anybody. And but he was like throwing a tennis ball. And I was like, good guy. And they were like, he's throwing a tennis ball, but he could be back in 3 weeks. I was like, shut up. There's no way this dude. But Joe, you mentioned this before the show, is that what does this tell us about the health of Andrew Luck? And then that could be telling us something there, but you are on to something else. Why do you think he decided not to take a head coaching job, period?
Well, I think Mel mentioned this, was that Belichick only has a couple more years in New England. And if a caveman shoulder is going to be a ongoing issue, why does he want to go there when there would have to be in a complete rebuild, when he could go to New England that already has some pieces in place? And if he stays and waits out the rest of Belichick's time there, he might be the lead candidate for the head coaching job when it comes open.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. All right, we got to get out of here. Every off-season show, I say we're only going to be here for 45 minutes in my head before the show, and it's 10:22. So, guys, this is the C3 Podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. We do it with the coolest people on the internet. People like Slim J, people like Cody Lashley, people like Ten Tizzy. The list goes on and on and on. Lynn, Carlson, I know I'm a junkie for fame. Thank you. All Night, Keith, Warlick, Nervush, all of you guys, we appreciate you. Carolina Man, we appreciate your support. You know what to do. Smash that thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, share on social media. Follow Joe Riolano at Joe Riolano. Mel Mayock, what do you, I always forget. Is it with an S or without an S?
It's with an S on Twitter.
Panthers Drafter on Twitter, Mel Mayock. You can catch him. This is his time of year shining. My name's Tony Dunn. You can follow me at cat_chronicles and check us out next Tuesday night. Be sure to hit that Cat Calls line, 252-228-5098. Tell them to peace out, guys.
Keep pounding. Do it.